Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John, and as always, I want you to know how grateful I am that you have chosen to spend a few minutes with me today. Thank you for tuning in. Now, before we jump into this episode, you know it, girl, I want to share a quote with you that I recently read that resonated with me. And it says, "If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough." And those inspiring words come to us from Ellen Sirleaf. Now, you may not recognize her name, but she is someone who served as the 24th president of Liberia, and she was the first elected female head of state in Africa. Boy, oh boy, is that inspiring. Now, in this episode, we are sitting down with Anja Schaer, and I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. She walks through what happens when a girl from East Germany dares to dream beyond the Berlin Wall and ends up building a thriving real estate empire right here in the US. And let me tell you, my friends, her words are ones that are inspiring, not only for me, but for all of you, I have no doubt. So let's go ahead and jump into my conversation with Anja. So today, my friends, you are in for a treat. I am so excited to welcome to the podcast Anja Schaer from the Peach House Group. Anja, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Stacey. I'm super excited.
So let's first of all have you share a little bit with our audience about who you are and where you live in the world.
Yes, my name is Anja Schaer. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, with my husband and my two kids. We have two boys, and we do all kinds of things. Real estate investing. We have a portfolio of furnished rentals here in the metro Atlanta area. And we do like a hybrid strategy with short-term and midterm rentals. I do some coaching on the side as well. And otherwise, we just enjoy life. We love to travel. We always go during the summer and also Christmas. If we can, we visit or go to Germany, visit the family, since all my family is still in Germany. And you can probably tell by the accent, like I'm not an US native or English native. But enjoying our time here. And yeah.
I love it. And I want to start off by asking you a little bit about, obviously you grew up in East Germany. I shouldn't say obviously, but you did grow up in East Germany. And now you're living the American dream as a real estate investor. Can you help us understand that journey and how it's shaped your mindset around risk and freedom and money, all the things? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It has been quite a journey, and sometimes it's still like a pinch me moment. Like, is this all real? Do we really live in the US now? Oh yes, I grew up behind the wall, Eastern Germany. Grew up in the 80s, which was like the midst of the Cold War. Crazy times, but again, as a kid, you don't understand all like the political things. And I had like an amazing childhood. We had good times. And then all of a sudden, like 1989, the wall came down and Germany was reunited, and it was a big change. And I think, and I'm thankful I went through this, because I was old enough to remember how it was in the 80s, like growing up in a socialistic or communistic country. And then everything changed overnight. People were told like whatever you were told before, like all your beliefs, kind of values, again, political system, throw it all out of the window, because now everything is differently. And a lot of older people, like my parents' generation and older, they had a hard time to adapt. Because if you live in a certain system for like 40 years, and then overnight everything changes, and they tell you, forget everything you learned so far and did so far. Now we show you a new way, a better way. And there is no perfect system. But it was interesting to go through this transition. And again, I was old enough to remember what we had in the 80s, but young enough to adapt to all the new things that are out there. And it was just interesting to go through this whole transition And then at some point, I honestly, I never had plans to leave the country. I never had plans to immigrate to the US. Just kind of happened. That's life. The opportunity opened up. But I think with the transition, going up behind the wall came down, Germany was reunited. It was already a lot of leaving your comfort zone, adapting to all those new things that were coming our way all the time, because there was no blueprint. How do you reunite two countries? So there was over a couple of years, there were a lot of different things until things like finally reunited the school system, the healthcare system, everything. So it was like a transition that took years. And I think it just showed up that we just have to be open to new things, to be ready to adapt, not holding on to like old structures for too long, keeping our eyes open for opportunities. And I think this helped us being more open to maybe also risk, more open to opportunities. And then it was still quite a step outside of our comfort zones than packing up our things and moving to the US, because I never planned to do that. And I'm usually not a risk taker. I'm rather play it safe. I'm the person who's like, can I think about this like one more night? And yeah, maybe. And my husband, he's the visionary, and he's like, okay, let's go, let's do this. This sounds pretty risky, but let's go do it. And because otherwise I probably maybe even wouldn't be in the US. But it's just crazy that we made that leap of faith. And we, back then in 2006, we didn't have kids, and we thought we have to do this. Like sometimes you feel like this is the thing you have to do, even if it sounds scary. And half of my family, friends, co-workers said like, Anja, you're totally crazy. Why would you quit? And I had I worked for the government, so I had a very secure job. It was well paid. And they said, why are you giving this up? Like security, so many people are craving this job security. I have a secure 9 to 5. And I already felt back then that I don't really belong in this 9 to 5 corporate structure. I was always butt-heading with my supervisors. Right? It were those people that are like, oh, but we are doing this for 20 years. And I was coming straight from college, and I'm like, but there's better ways, more efficient
better way.
Things. And they're like, nope, we're going to do this our way. So for me, it felt right, even though it was very scary to just quit my job. I just quit my apartment, like sold everything I had. And we moved to the US and said, okay, we just give it a try. We got a visa for 1 year. Like we have 1 year to make this successful, to start our business, to open our like lighting store in the Tampa Bay area in Florida back then. And we just said, okay, we just give it a try. If it doesn't work out, we can just come back. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? We can just come back. Maybe I can even get my job back. But we can always say, at least we tried, because I think there's nothing worse than regret, looking back and saying, oh, what would have happened if I maybe went for that opportunity? Yeah. And everything worked out. We got our visa extended. Our business did great. And we were then, enjoying life in the US. Again, the country that they always warned us about back in the 80s, because the US was our big enemy back then, right? Of war times. And now we live here. My kids are born here, and it's sometimes still like
pinch me. Yeah. That is so fascinating to hear your story. And I could imagine as a young girl, I remember literally being in my family room and watching, the television when the wall came down, and it was such a pivotal moment, of course, but it didn't impact me. I was just watching it, right? It had a tremendous impact on you. I'm curious, when that transition did take place in Germany, when you were being integrated, if you will, with West Germany, was it something that excited you? was it something that was scary, or both?
I think at this point, because when the wall came down, I was 9. So there was more excitement. And we were just happy because we could finally see our family in the western part of Germany, because my family, we were like kind of divided. Half of us lived in the western part, the other half in the eastern part, and you were not allowed to visit each other. The family from the west, they could come visit, but from the eastern side, you were not allowed to cross the border to the west. In general, right? We couldn't see any of those countries. You were basically prisoners of your own country, because they built the wall to keep the people in the country, because in the 50s, a lot of people left because they didn't want it to be in the Russian zone. And they were just bleeding citizens, and that was the only reason they built the wall, to keep the people in the country.
Wow.
And for us, it was just like super exciting. Like finally, like we can see our family. And the first thing that probably half of the country did back then, when the wall came down, we all hopped in our cars. We went to Berlin, because my parents said they didn't believe it would last. They thought they're just going to open up the borders for a while to keep the citizens, because there was like uprising, demonstrations, and they thought they're going to close it up again. So let's go to Berlin. So we're going to see West Berlin at least once in our lives. And we went, and my parents, I remember they were so afraid that they would close the border behind us while we were in West Berlin. So they were like, you could tell they were really anxious. For us, it was just, I don't know how to describe that, but it's probably maybe coming from rural Mexico and going into Orlando, Disney for the first time in your life.
Right.
Like, the drastic, everything was colorful and bright, and just the products, right? I mean, in the East, we had like scarcity of everything, lack of everything. And then you're coming to West Berlin, and they had shops, malls, I mean, aisles full of like toys and all the things. And we were like just blown away. And then our other half of the family invited us over for Christmas. They said, you have to come over. It's the first time we can all spend Christmas together. And they went overboard, like buying for us like toys and stuff, like our first Barbie doll, like all those things that we weren't allowed to have.
Yeah.
And it's just like really like burned into my memory, those first time going to like an Italian pizzeria, first time in a Chinese restaurant, like so many first times, like being in a big mall, because we didn't have those big malls. And it was just so amazing. Finally get to know them, spending Christmas together, going shopping, exploring, like seeing this other side of the country that we were not allowed to explore and to see. And those first couple of years, which for me as a kid was just super exciting, because the whole like political side of things, thankfully my parents went through the transition fairly well, kept their jobs or got new jobs, because a lot of people lost their jobs with the transition. A lot of those big companies that we had in the eastern part were sold, were closed down. So thankfully we were not too much impacted, but it was just super amazing times.
And I'm curious, when you look back on that opening, if you will, as a young girl, how do you feel like that has impacted you today as a business owner? Do you look at new things maybe with a different lens? Do you embrace exploring new opportunities differently than maybe other friends of yours? I'm just curious how you feel like that experience as a child has impacted you as an entrepreneur today.
I think it definitely had a big impact, because I think we are looking at things with a different perspective. Like I always want to understand both sides of the coin. A lot of people just have their like a fixed mindset, scarcity mindset, and they would only look at certain things with a certain perspective. And I'm always like, let's be open, let's explore everything that's out there. Again, there's always two sides to everything. And I think a lot of those where people get stuck is just how you grew up with those values that put you in a kind of mold, and people never get out of that mold. And I think since we went through so many drastic changes with this whole transition, that we were just, I guess, we are more open-minded to looking at things, and also seeing that like no system is perfect, right? There's always good things and bad things. It's just weighing your options and make a decision that aligns with your goals, that aligns with your values. And just, again, listening to different opinions to form your own one. And I think this has helped us a lot in just being ready to pivot, looking at opportunities and making a decision. Is this something for us? Are we willing to take the risk? Yes or no? And we are probably a little bit more open to taking risks, also because of the fact that we immigrated to another country, leaving everything behind, having to deal with a new language, new everything, new values, also different people, different mindset, people work differently. The whole like banking system, how does credit work, like debt? And I think it helped us a lot just mastering those things better, where other people would have said, this is too risky for me, too much outside of my comfort zone. And I think since we were pushed outside of our comfort zones a couple of times already, we know how it feels.
Yeah.
And I think then it's easier for us to say, okay, I'm okay with feeling uncomfortable with maybe doing another step outside of my comfort zone, because we already see and realize that this is the only way to grow. This is the only way to move forward. This is the only way to say, like, wow, we can build a business in a different country, and we can, right? We can deal with the stress, and we can push through all the obstacles and build something like a life that we are proud of. And that we can look back and say, we don't have any regrets. It was not all perfect.
Sure.
We don't have any regrets doing those risky things, or maybe making the decision to leave Germany and come to the US. So I think the whole experiences in my past, in my childhood, I think helped a lot to where we are right now.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of pivots, talk to us a little bit about how we pivoted from a lighting store in Florida to Atlanta and becoming a mogul in the world of real estate. Talk to us about that.
Yes, probably another one of those like leap of faith moments. We built this lighting store, and it was really successful. People in the US, right? A lot of them love those more modern lighting fixtures from Europe, and we were selling them really well on e-commerce, like on Google. And then over the years, we still had this urge to like, we want to build something, or maybe start another business on the side, create another stream of income. Google over the years became too big and very restrictive, and then at some point, like around 2012, really started to tell you how you have to set up your website and how you can sell online using the platform Google. And we said, okay, this is the time to look into our other options. And we looked in like franchise options, maybe like a Subway store, assisted living, talked to different companies, but nothing really felt right. And then 2017, actually, I have to give credit to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. It was Facebook made me do it. I mean, really. I was scrolling on my phone on Facebook, and there was an ad popping up about a free real estate investing masterclass in our area. And we had 2 little kids back then. So I texted my husband and said, this sounds interesting. You go and check it out. So he went to like a 2-hour class, came back home, totally fired up. And he said, I think this is it, Anja. I think this is the opportunity we were waiting for. This could be something where we can build another stream of income. They have like a boot camp over the weekend. I already signed up for it, and I want to go do this. And they went to the boot camp, and it was the Fortune Builders coaching program. They are based in California. And my husband calls me, and he's like, this is it. Like, let's sign up. They have a coaching program. They teach us everything that's out there. it just costs $35,000. I'm like, excuse me? Like, what?
Wait, what?
Like, we don't even have this money. And he's like, I already called American Express. I opened 2 credit cards on the spot, 0 interest credit cards. We're going to spread it out on 3 different credit cards. And we will make this money back, but we have to make this investment. Like, this is it. And this was one of those moments where I thought, like, can I please sleep over this like one more night to think about it? But he already signed up. Okay. And I'm like, I mean, I sent him to this real estate investing class.
Right.
Like, okay, it's too late now. Okay, then let's do this. Oh my God. And they had like online classes and like also access to like coaching. And we was a really large class in Atlanta. Like a lot of local people signed up. And everybody thought, okay, let's just go through the whole class modules first, right? And once we feel comfortable, we're going to look into what we want to do. And they were teaching everything, fix and flips, wholesaling, multifamily, all the things. And we just did it the other way around. We were in module 1, attended a networking event, ran into a wholesaler who said, I have a house currently, like it was 20 minutes from us, that needs renovations. You want to buy it, yes or no? And we looked at it and he's like, you have to let me know today because I have like 3 other people that are interested. And I was like, oh my God.
I want to sleep on that.
Because we were just like 4 weeks into the program, like still like module 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew nothing, right? And my husband, and he's like, okay, let's buy it. So we were 4 weeks into the program, already bought our first fix and flip property. Mm-hmm. But we just learned so much by going through this first experience, flipping a house, dealing with a contractor, dealing with renovations. And I still think that's the best way to do this. Even again, there is never a moment where you say, I'm ready for it. I know all the things. I read all the books. I watched all the videos. This moment will never come. You're never ready. And you just sometimes have to, again, jump and grow your wings on the way down. And that's what we did. And again, we just learned so much by applying it, going with a hard money lender, like figuring out all the things that people are always, that hold them back. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't know where to find the deal. And we had to figure it out fairly quickly. We spent a lot of time on the phone with those coaches from the coaching program. And it was a great experience. And we were able to flip this house. We were able to sell it 6 months later. And we just realized like, oh my gosh, we can actually do this. We flipped our first house. And then from this point, we gained momentum. We met more people. We got the second deal. We got the third deal. And then things just started to build up. And then in 2020, we went full-time. We sold the lighting business and then went full-time into real estate investing. So it was like a whirlwind those couple of years to figure things out. But yeah, we did it.
Hey girl, if you've ever thought about taking back control from Airbnb, you're not alone. And Lodgify is the tool to do it. Did you know that with Lodgify, you can create your own stunning direct booking website, manage everything from guest communication to payments all in one place, and finally say goodbye to the high OTA fees? Now, here's the best part. STR Sisterhood listeners, you get 20% off all yearly plans, plus free personalized onboarding that's worth over $3,000. Just use code STRSH20 and start building your business your way. I love that you've said jump and grow your wings on the way down, because so often I feel like it's way more comfortable and way easier for folks to learn all the things and then dive in. And I am not here to say that you should dive in blindly. You know, you dove in obviously with a support system around you.
Yes.
But I feel like so often I see 2 different sides of the equation. Either you've got the folks who are spending all the time learning and in analysis paralysis and never dive in, or you've got
taking
people,
action.
or you've got the people who dive in without having the education. And I feel like it's so important to have both, right? The ability and willingness to commit and take action, as well as having education and a support system around you. And it sounds like, I'm guessing you would agree with that.
Yes. It's probably a blend of both.
Yeah.
Getting some education, but don't hide behind the books and the videos and the program. And again, most of those people, then they never feel ready to jump in. They are afraid to take the action. They are stuck in their head with the analysis paralysis. Yeah. And the only way to apply it is in doing it, taking the action. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. And I had a lot of sleepless nights, and we had our moments where we were second guessing ourselves. Is this the right thing? Was this the right decision? Gosh, we spent all this money on this coaching program, buying those homes. And there is like not a guarantee, right, that you can sell it for the price point you are aiming for. But you can only figure it out if you do it. And again, that's why I also love those coaching programs, that you have to experience coaches that take you by the hand. You don't have to do this alone. There's other people that went through the same obstacles and they succeeded because you have this support system behind you. And what was also really amazing with this coaching program, but that something I didn't realize at all at the beginning, is the mindset part. They were heavy on mindset. I mean, it was the first time I heard about Robert Kiyosaki and all his books and all these, what the high achievers, the books they are reading, Atomic Habits. And I mean, right, all those books out there. And it really opened up our universe to self-development, also just that we have to work on ourselves, because we all have a backpack full of old beliefs, things that no longer serve us. And I think especially us growing up in a socialistic country where everything was scarce and there was a lack of everything. And now we're living in the US where everything is abundant, like everything is available to you, all those opportunities. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that the opportunities you have in this country, if you just open up your mindset and be willing to put in the work. I don't know, maybe it's also a perspective because we are immigrants. We didn't grow up with those opportunities. And I'm still like, the US is the best country to go for, like, dream big. Whatever idea comes to mind, you can do it. You can build your own business. You can go for it. And I'm really appreciative for and grateful that we went through the coaching program, because it connected us to the right people. Here in Atlanta, they had their own networking group for people, those students that went through the program. And we met all the people we needed, the money lenders, hot money, private money, insurance people, contractors. We met all those people in that local community. That's another big factor. Really plug yourself into a community of like-minded people that are already doing what you want to do, that are already successful. And everybody was so open in sharing their kind of secret sauce and say, like, here's my phone number, give me a call if you are stuck or if you have a burning question. And that was just such a great experience. And that's why I'm also like a big believer in get a coach for whatever is it's fitness, health, whatever you want to get better in. Yeah, get help. You don't have to go through everything yourself. And sure, there is a ton of information out there that's free, but then applying it, somebody that's basically kicking your behind and said, okay, you're going to do this now. I mean, again, comfort zones, right? It's you have
comfort
to step
zones.
Comfort zones.
Absolutely. And, I have a quiz on the livebigwithstacy.com website, which is, which zone are you operating in? Because so often people stay in their comfort zone because it feels so much better, right? Yes. It feels so much better. And once you break outside that comfort zone, you then step into the fear zone, right? And that is very uncomfortable, right? Yes. What I think a big mistake is, and something that I heard you highlight a few minutes ago, was you went through some very scary things or new experiences that felt very scary. I feel like so often people are looking for fear to go away. Like, Fear
Yeah.
just, I shouldn't have any of it. And what I see are the most successful people, I'm curious to get your perspective, understand that fear is always in play. However, you push through it. You walk alongside it. You commit to your goal regardless of that fear. And so learning to get comfortable with the uncomfortable is a skill. It's simply a muscle that can be built. And just because you may not feel like you have that skill right now doesn't mean that that's not a skill that you can start building today, right this very minute. Would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. And it's probably people always think it's like those big life decisions, but oftentimes, it starts with a first step. Sometimes it's just little decisions step by step. And it's also kind of trusting a process. When we got started with real estate investing, we didn't really know where this would all lead to. We just knew at this point it was the right decision. And we just did one step after another. We started with fix and flips, then figured out with our other business that we still had, we don't have the time to do this. So we pivoted and said, okay, let's move more into wholesaling, because it just, at this time, it felt better going into this lane. And that's how we acquired all our properties that we at some point then renovated, designed, furnished them. But we always kept pivoting, like you're starting on a path and you don't see the final destination, right? You have to go around some mountains, but trusting the process that you're on the right path, and also be willing to pivot in between if something doesn't feel aligned anymore, that you have to change it. And we just did another change beginning of the year. We sold the wholesaling business, something my husband enjoyed doing for the last 7 years, and it created the cash flow to also purchase our own properties. But with the market last year, things were very slow, prices too high, interest rates too high. It was hard to find deals that made sense for investors. And we said, okay, let's sell this company, just focus on our furnished rentals, start with co-hosting, like pushing this. And the Metro Atlanta area is a great market for furnished rentals, also for the midterm space. That's something we want to specialize in, kind of a hybrid strategy, blending midterm together. And now the end goal is to build a boutique style property management company. I'm just working on my broker's license. And that's, again, something I never thought I would do. Never. Like that was never on my agenda. Oh, you're going to have your broker's license one day and have your own brokerage. But again, we just pivoted and said it makes sense for us. We have so much expertise now and knowledge in furnished rentals. Let's help others maximize returns and build a boutique style property management company where we can focus on investors and landlords, take their portfolio and say, we can help you with short-term rentals, midterm rentals, or traditional long-term rentals, and help you maximize your revenue with like different avenues, and not just, most of the traditional property management companies would only do long-term, but we can do everything. And that's our like new focus where we're gonna work on this year. And again, it's always
pivoting.
We don't know where this is leading to. But one thing we learned here in the US, it's start a business, scale it, build the systems and processes behind it. And we already sold 2 companies just because of that, with systems, process, with a trained team behind. We work a lot with VAs. My husband is really great in building the teams, building those processes in the background. And then we were able to sell this as an asset to another investor who wanted to get into wholesaling. And that now we're going to do it again. Now we're going to build a property management company over the next couple of years. And at some point, we will be able to sell it. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. I love that. And so many things there to unpack. But I want to just highlight a couple of things, because I know you've even mentioned them. But for anyone who's listening or watching, one of the things that Anja has shared is so incredibly important. And I just want to shine a light on it. It's relentless continuous improvement and pivoting. And I feel like so often, again, what I see of so many people is when a pivot is needed, it's I've done something wrong, or I've messed something up, or the mindset is I have failed in some way and it's causing me to pivot. Whereas you and I look at pivots as simply curves in the road, right? And we're just following the curve. It may not be easy all the time. It may be inherent with challenges during that pivot. But I think it's so important not to beat yourself up if you have to pivot, right? It's important to have the right mindset all along. Like, this is just a path that I'm following. This is a blip on my journey. This is a bump in the road. It is a curve around the hill. Are there any things that have helped you when you've had to pivot? I know for me, and again, you've mentioned this, the power of a community. The reasons I'm so passionate about having a community around me. And I see other women inside my communities helping one another. And that is so incredibly rewarding. How has community played a role for you when you've had to pivot?
Community is huge. And I think I especially craving those communities because we have all our family in Germany. You don't have your usual tribe of people that you grew up with, like your friends from childhood school. We don't have this like kind of support system. We had to build our own community here in the US. And I'm always a people connector. I don't know. I've always been that, like during college, whenever we said, okay, let's organize a party. Let's bring a couple of people together. I was always the one of him. Okay, let's do this. Came to the US. I built a Facebook group or group for German women here in the US so we can connect and just chat. And again, we all went to the same experience. And now it's the same for the short-term rental, real estate investing space. I'm plugged into a couple of communities, masterminds. And that's something I need for me. I mean, I think I have a really good intuition. What feels right, or like, okay, let's go do this. But it's so great to maybe drop a question into one of those groups or have people to say, you can give me a call, Anja, and you can brainstorm and just say, okay, this is what I want to do. Is this a stupid idea? Or what is your opinion on this, right? And sometimes you just need to hear the perspective from someone else who might say, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a great idea. Here's my take on this. Maybe do it this way, maybe do it that way, to get the reassurance. But for me, it was so helpful to be in a couple of those communities, to just have someone else say, you're on the right track, right? Keep on going. It might feel hard and comfortable for now, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep on going, push through. So I think having this community is super helpful, especially if you're just starting out with something new, right? For us, it's the hospitality space and short-term rentals. And I really so appreciate your group, Stacey, bringing all like this diverse group of women together. We have all so different backgrounds and why we started with the hospitality space, how we ended up here. For a lot of others, by accident, or we never really planned on doing this. Now we are here, and we see other women building those amazing businesses, everything around short-term rentals and hospitality. And I think that's so inspiring. And again, I'm just honored to share a little bit of my story here today.
I think for me, the power of a community is not only having the ability to ask questions, get plugged into formalized education, but also learning from other people's challenges before it ever occurs in our own businesses. And it's one of the other reasons why I value our communities so very much. You know, the STR Success Accelerator, which I'm so proud to have you inside that. It's the women that are going through experiences that are helping one another just by sharing, hey, this happened to me last week, and even asking a question on a call about it. help someone else learn. And I think that is so incredibly powerful and yet so undervalued sometimes.
Yes. And especially since we as women, I think we learn differently, we apply things differently. And it's great to have this like kind of safe space. Because when we got started with real estate investing, I felt very intimidated. Most of those meetings back then, networking events, 80-90% of the room was all men. And then sometimes you're afraid to ask certain questions. And I think it's just such a different vibe and atmosphere if you have a room full of women. And you can ask those questions and nobody's giving you like a weird side look. Because we do business differently. We have a different approach to it. And especially now with us like pivoting and trying now to build like a property management company. And I know there is a couple of ladies in your group. They already did it. And it's great to know, like, I can reach out to them. I can call them and say, okay, how do I approach this? What kind of insurance do I need? What is the right setup from entity-wise for property management company? And how do you scale? How do you not get stuck with maybe 50 clients? Like, how can I grow and accommodate more clients? So, and it's great to have the support system and those women that I know I can reach out to and ask my questions, and everybody is open to share what they went through. And this is, I think, so powerful also, again, for your mindset to say, I can do this. Like there's no limit in what I can build. Yeah. And again, it's one step after another.
Absolutely. And one thing too that I love that you're doing is you're paying that forward. You are coaching other women in the same space. So talk to us a little bit about that and what you have found most rewarding from that experience.
Again, that's also something I never really planned to do. It just grew organically when we did our first fix and flips and started with short-term rentals. I was sharing a lot on social media, and then I had friends, people that just watched me, what we were doing, reaching out, mostly women, saying, Anja, I would love to turn maybe a long-term rental into a short-term rental, but I have no idea how to do this. Like, how do I furnish it? Like, how do I write a listing description? How do I price my short-term rental? And I just got started helping a couple of people. And then I thought, okay, wow, I can probably help more if I have some sort of a program. So I developed my own small group coaching program that is like an 8-week program with live calls on Zoom, and they get like a 30 to 40 page workbook. We go through different modules, and they get one-on-one calls with me as well. And if they are local, I can meet them at their homes and we can walk through it, and I can give ideas with design and tips on where to purchase furniture on a discount, and give the support again on a small scale. And this is so rewarding if you see people that doubted themselves, women that said, I don't think I can do this, oh my gosh, Anja, my Airbnb just went live. Yeah, I think this is the greatest moment ever. Or again, my clients reaching out in and said, okay, we are under contract. We are buying our first investment property. Yeah. And this is the best part of it.
I agree.
Right?
I totally agree. Having the opportunity to pour into someone else and helping them achieve their goals, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It is the most rewarding work ever. And something I just want to encourage anyone who's listening or watching, Anja goes through this. I go through this. We still learn stuff each and every day. We are in no way, shape, or form halting our own learning. We're continuously learning. But what I think is important to know is that you too can help someone else on their path. Even if you're just 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of them, look for opportunities to help other people, and you will find that is one of the most rewarding gifts that you can give to yourself. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And also that the way you grew up doesn't define where you can go in your life. Like, I didn't grow up with parents that were entrepreneurs. They never owned any rentals or properties because it was just not possible. And now we are real estate investors full time and doing all the things. So again, it's don't be held back in your head just because your parents never did those things, it doesn't mean that you're not capable in doing those.
Amen.
And I think that's also a very important lesson. And I think most of the women in your group, Stacey, they didn't grow up with parents in real estate, or they didn't come out of college or woke up one day and say, I'm going to be a real estate investor and I'm going to do short-term rentals. It kind of happened, right? At some point, we ended up in a good way in the hospitality space. But again, don't be stuck in your head just because you're not surrounded with that. Again, find your community, the community of those people that are already doing this, plug yourself into it, take advantage of their knowledge, experience, and you can absolutely build a short-term rental, business or empire if you put your mind to it.
Absolutely. Another commonality that we have that actually I just learned about is that you have just published a book. I just published my book called Live Big earlier this year, and you have just published a book. That is so amazing. I'm so excited for you. It's called The Hybrid Rental Strategy. First of all, before you tell us about the book, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write the book.
I think just all the experiences we had with our own rentals. And I was following a couple of midterm rental operators in the space for the last 3 years. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. I want to explore more about it. And then we applied it, I think 2 years ago. We started listing our properties on certain platforms, entering them in databases for temporary housing agencies. And again, it's one of those things, let's just give it a try. Trial and error. Let's see how it goes, right? And we got a couple of really great contracts and leases with people from the local community that were displaced due to natural disasters, water damage, fire, tree damage, and they needed a place for a couple of months locally. And we offered them our houses, and it was a great experience. And we realized, wow, we can make even a better revenue with those midterm tenants versus on the short-term side. My workload is way lower. It's intense at the beginning, securing those contracts, going through the lease agreement, showing the houses, moving the people in. But once they are in your home, right, you don't really have a lot of work to do then going forward. And we realized for our urban setting here, this is a perfect blend that we can use to reduce the workload and to also maximize our revenue. And I thought wow, this is really interesting. If it works for us, it can also might be interesting concept for someone else who just doesn't know how to run it as a hybrid, because it's a different calendar management, it's different marketing, different platforms. It's a lot of B2B relationships. And we just put all that info, our own experience with our own homes, put it all into a book with the hybrid rental strategy and how you can double your income with those running your properties as short and midterm rentals. And hopefully it inspires a lot of others, maybe landlords, to say, okay, maybe let's try this, the furnished rental space, and see how this goes. And if I can do a hybrid, hopefully get those midterm leases, and in between, we just run it as a short-term rental. And we just packed all this info into one book. And I didn't even have time to promote it, because the plan was to promote it in April. And then my son ended up in the hospital. So I just didn't have the capacity to do something, to do a book launch. And at some point, my husband just said, because we had people reading over it, making sure everything is formatted correctly and all those things. I just want to wrap out and finish this project. So he just pressed the button and he's like, Anja, the book is live. And I was like, what? Can I sleep on this? No. So, okay. Yeah. So it's out there, and I hope I can inspire a lot of other.
Oh, I love that.
Also real estate investors, just giving them, again, options and saying, there is more things you can do. And that's the beauty of real estate. Once you own a home, once you have this asset, there's options in how you can run it and how you can maximize your profits. And it might not work in every market, but it works great in our urban environment.
Yeah.
And
I love that. And so, Anja, where can folks find this book?
It's on Amazon. So if you enter the hybrid rental strategy and my name, Anja Schaer, it will pop up. So I would appreciate if people also just leaving reviews. I know it's so important. But if you want to learn more about this whole space and how you can, again, maximize your rentals with this hybrid strategy, would appreciate it if you can, just get the book and let me know. Give me some feedback on it.
I love that. Anja, so good. I want to move to the lightning round. I could stay on here and talk to you for hours.
Well, I'm sure you have
something to do. And our listeners probably have something to do too. So we'll have to do a part 2. Okay, so I want to move to the lightning round, and I'm going to ask you to answer with the very first thing that comes to mind. First question is, where is your favorite place to vacation?
I would probably say Europe. Because we always enjoy going back and exploring Italy, Spain, Croatia. There's so much more we want to see. And it's interesting if you live in Europe. I lived in Germany for such a long time, and you don't really explore what's around you because you think, I can go any time, right? Paris, London, whatever. You just don't do it. And now we live in the US. And now we are craving to explore Europe and take our kids to Italy and all these countries. So we love Europe.
It's funny. So at the time of recording this, I have been home about 12 hours from Europe. I flew back from Rome yesterday, and, that was my second time over there. And not only do you have the opportunity to see other cultures and to experience the way people live in other places, I was able to see some of the most beautiful sights and eat some of the most amazing food known to man, So I couldn't agree more. It's such a beautiful place. Spent a fair amount of time in Italy, and there is nothing like it.
It's nothing like it. It's just wonderful. Oh, everything. The food, the people, we love history. Our oldest son, he loves everything Roman Empire. So being in Rome, seeing those old sites, the Colosseums, and it's just mind blowing. Those sites are 2,000, 3,000 years old, and you're walking around every corner, and there's something, a new historic site, and it's
it's pretty amazing. Okay, what's one place you've never been that you want to visit?
Definitely Australia and New Zealand at some point. Yeah, I want to see those places.
I agree. I think it's so interesting, the fact that Australia, I recently learned, is almost as large as the US, square radius wise. And I would have never dreamed that, but they are just two so beautiful and elusive places that I feel like I have to get to as well. So when you decide to go, you let me know. I might be packing in your thing.
Going to do it.
All right. What's one thing you know now that you wished you knew when you were starting out in the world of short-term and midterm rentals?
Definitely don't hesitate getting a coach, finding a coaching program. I think it accelerates your learning and your success so much. And I know a lot of people, they're always shying away because of maybe the price tag of something like that. But I think you cannot even put a price tag on the knowledge, the coaching, the support. Again, just those like-minded people that tell you, you can absolutely dream big, you can do this. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. They're so helpful. And I think, again, there you cannot put a price tag on it.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
That's a tough one. But I would say good is better than perfect. We are so much in our heads with, I think it's also a women's thing. We are all, I love that you always say recovering perfectionists. Oh my gosh, right? We always want to have it perfect. And I've seen it again. We just renovated one of our short-term rentals, and the contractors were not fast enough. And I was I had this vision how I want the property to look like. And we already had the next booking, the next guest about to check in, and it wasn't perfect yet, right? And I was like beating myself up over it. And I'm like, Anja, stop it. Like it's beautiful the way it is. You can still add those finishing touches in between the next guest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it done. Just
get it done. Get it done. I think as a recovering perfectionist, that's something that I have to remind myself like every day, because I will find myself in the moment. No, you can't do that yet, or don't put that out yet, or you've got to re-record that, or whatever the case might be. And it's like, no, just stop getting in our own way. We're stalling our own growth because we're trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
And also sharing those struggles with others, because that's the thing with Instagram. Everything looks so perfect, but people want to see the struggles. They want to see those moments where you like, no, I think it's not perfect yet, but I just go live and do the things and share those struggles with others. I think that's so authentic and more relatable versus the picture perfect feed.
Right.
And our worlds are not perfect. Things go wrong. And I'm also like a big believer in like sharing those struggles with others, because it just makes us relatable.
That's something I feel like I need to do better, because I'm very sensitive to my team will tell me this all the time. Stacey, you need to just not worry about your makeup and your hair. Just go live whenever. And I'm like, makes my heart want to stop, if my face isn't on or my hair isn't done, and that's the way that I'm wired, and that's who I am. So that is authentic in a way. And at the same time, I know that I have had multiple scenarios where I thought, ooh, I should go live about that. And I haven't, because I'm afraid, if anybody saw this space right now, they would unfollow,
Yeah. Again, it's just us, like it's just our perception. And if you would have done the video, people would have thought, oh, this is amazing. Right? But
I know. I just had that experience. It is so true. We are so often in our own way. And I just shared with people at the most recent Live Big Beach retreat that I just wrote a book about this type of stuff, right? And I'm continuously still having to challenge myself, right? So again, it's not like one day you lock into this right mindset and the world is full of rainbows and unicorns. It's not like that. I still have to push myself each and every day to get out of my own way. Right?
Well, yeah, it's a constant journey. But I think like awareness is like one big thing that helps us in those moments, being aware of it. And okay, how can I react differently maybe next time? So it's an ongoing thing. But again, don't be afraid to always keep learning and pivoting. That's life.
Amen. All right, Anja, last question. What's one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
Oh, there's so many people out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom, because she's just turning 70. And we will be in Germany for the big celebration in July. But even so, we have 5,000 miles in between us. And we, of course, don't see each other enough. They're always supporting us. They always believed in what we were doing. They even supported us when we told them we're going to move away, like we're going to move to the US. And we did it twice to them. We lived in Florida for 9 years, went back to Germany because I wanted to be closer to the family. They had the grandkids, everything around the corner. And then we figured out reverse culture shock. It's not going to work out. We're not going to fit in anymore. We were strangers in our own town. And we did this super hard decision to move back to the States. And I had to tell my kids to say goodbye to the grandparents again. Oh my gosh, it was the hardest moment ever. And still, right, they said, if this is the best decision for you and your family, we're going to support you and we do everything, right, to help you with this situation. And so I just want to give a big shout out for them to always believing in us and supporting us. And every time we go to Germany, oh my gosh, my kids get spoiled top to bottom from them because they're happy to have them. Yeah. So thank you, Mom.
Oh, I love that. I hope your mom hears that. And it is, something that's so special to have unwavering support, and something that we are blessed, you and I are blessed to have, and not everyone is equally in that situation. So if you are listening or watching and you don't have unwavering support with your mom or your family or your friends, you know that Anja and I are here to support you.
Yes.
So Anja, thank you so much. If folks want to learn more about you or find out about any services that you offer, what is the best place for them to find you online?
They can either go to my website, anjaschaer.com, so very easy, or find me on Instagram, Anja_invests, where I share everything about our crazy life, in the real estate investing world and short-term rental world. And again, if anybody wants to explore my book, that's on Amazon, and I would appreciate every feedback I can get and some reviews. That would help me tremendously.
Absolutely. Anja, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Stacey. Really honored.
Hey girl, before you go, I want you to remember something. You don't have to figure this whole thing out on your own. Whether today's episode gave you a fresh perspective or lit a fire under your feet, imagine what could shift when you're consistently surrounded by women who are in it with you. The STR Sisterhood isn't just a podcast, it's a community, and it's a movement for women who are ready to lead, grow, and thrive in the short-term rental world with clarity, confidence, and connection. Doors are open and your seat is waiting. Join us at the STR Sisterhood.m as in mighty, n as in network.co. And let this be a moment you stop playing small and start building your business your way with the support you deserve. I'll see you on the inside.